Hey everyone, it's Jacob from Oklahoma Fungi. In today's video, I'm super excited to announce the official release of my newest product, Grow Shrooms Easy. This is a sterilized manure blend all-in-one grow kit that you can remove this label. There's an injection port, there's a filter patch, and it's everything that you need aside from your choice of liquid culture or spores to get started growing mushrooms. You can see this small black circle is the injection port, and this white filter patch is what allows your mushrooms to breathe without contamination penetrating the bag. So we're going to take our liquid culture, we're going to inoculate through this port, the mushroom mycelium will start to grow, then we'll go on to step 3, which is opening up a little hole in the bag, which is why you see the tape in the corner. And then after that, depending on which species you want to grow, the mushrooms will either grow inside the bag, or we'll cut an X like we do with oyster mushrooms, and then we'll spray the outside and you'll see these oyster mushrooms grow on the side of the bag. It's super fun and exciting, and it's really easy to do. That's why I called it Grow Shrooms Easy. Speaking of spores and liquid culture, if you didn't know, you can find liquid culture on my website for all my gourmet mushrooms, and you can also find spores on my website for all my research varieties. My number one most popular is the Oklahoma Wild Footlong. This is the native cubensis that actually grows here in Oklahoma all throughout the year, and that I found over 2 years ago and have been spreading the spores throughout the community ever since. If you've already got your spores or liquid culture, then we're on to step 2, which is using sterile technique, inoculate your growing medium with your trusted culture. Safety first, clean injection port site with rubbing alcohol. That's why you can see this little yellow bottle right here where my finger is. That's some isopropyl that we're gonna use to clean that little black injection port before we actually do the inoculation like you can see on step 2. So I'm gonna do that just so you can see what it looks like, and then we'll move on to step 3. Now I'm gonna put on my gloves. I'm also gonna take this isopropyl alcohol, spray the surface as well as the bag. I'm gonna open up my liquid culture. I'm gonna be using Blue Oyster liquid culture for this demonstration. All of our liquid culture syringes come nice and healthy along with a sterile needle. That way we can attach the needle and get to the inoculation. So I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna turn the needle kind of upside down to make sure nothing can get in. Remove the needle from the packaging and attach it. Now that our syringe and needle are connected, we're gonna spray our all-in-one grow kit with some isopropyl alcohol. Then we're gonna remove the needle and insert it directly into the center of the silicone injection port. And I'll show you what that looks like up close. You can see that I'm not going all the way to the base of the syringe where that pink is. I'm just going a little bit closer, and now I'm slowly gonna press this inoculation in, down, and move it around. So you can see all that liquid culture going into the bag. You can even see it running down the side of the bag right here. And as I push it all in, I'm gonna slowly remove the needle out. Be very careful not to poke myself, and to attach the needle cover. That way we can dispose of this at a sharps container collection spot near you. Now all of this was very, very simple and easy, but we just used gloves, isopropyl alcohol, and a little bit of precaution to make sure that we don't poke ourselves. Now that this bag has been inoculated, we're going to store it at 75 degrees. We want to make sure that this filter patch is above the material, so that way the mycelium can breathe. If the bag is folded like this, and this is tucked underneath the bag and sitting on something like that, it's going to be a lot harder for this mycelium to grow and to get that fresh air circulation. So we're going to set this bag somewhere that's not always in the sun to where it can't get dehydrated, or anywhere where the cats and dogs can come and puncture it. We're going to set it somewhere out of the way with this filter patch up. And after about 2 to 3 weeks, we'll start to see this bag get 20% colonized. Now, what that looks like is this right over here. I inoculated this bag with some pink oyster mycelium. You can see that mycelium right there is starting to turn pinkish, and that means that this is ready to go to the next step. For step number 3, you'll need a pair of scissors and some tape, along with more isopropyl alcohol and a pair of gloves. I personally just reuse these if I can. This step says to make a small cut in the bag once 20% colonized, reseal with tape, and then mix contents evenly to distribute the mycelium. Alright, let's use this block right here that's 20% colonized. You can see that mycelium down here growing along. Up here at the top where it's a bit more mature, because that's where the inoculation port was, you can see where it's actually starting to turn a little bit yellow, a little bit pink, but that is actually nice healthy mycelium starting to grow. No issues here about contamination. So now we're going to take our pair of scissors, we're going to cut right here, then we're going to take our tape, retape it, and then mix up these contents. And then we'll be on to step number 4. We've got our alcohol, our tape, and our scissors. The first thing that we're going to do is spray this top flap where we're going to make the cut. Then we're going to make that tiny cut right here. We're not going to go all the way to the gusset. Now we're going to open up this bag, trying to give it a little bit of air. Now we're gonna take this tape and retape that same spot that we cut. That allows the organism to have this much more air. You can see how much air was able to bring in and allow it to breathe. Now I'm gonna start to mix up these contents because there's a little bit more space with all that fresh air in there. Make sure this is nice and sealed. And then I'll take this block and I'll just start to break it up like so. And once you've mixed up the entire bag, then we're just gonna try and compress it down and make it a nice dense block. And you can see how much more headspace this one has versus this one that came directly out of the autoclave. This one on the left has little to no headspace for air exchange, whereas this one on the right, after we've sterilized, made the cut and incision, and retaped, it has a lot more headspace, so that way this mycelium can thrive. And if these are research spores, then the mushrooms will actually grow inside of the bag, and we don't have to open it again until we harvest. But if this is a gourmet mushroom like it is, it's a pink oyster, then I know that we'll have to cut an X right here and start to spray it with water to make sure that it produces pins, and then it grows into a nice healthy flush like the one you'll see on my website. If you've never grown mushrooms before and you're interested in the research varieties or the manure-loving gourmet mushrooms, this is definitely the kit for you. If you buy the kit and the liquid culture from my website, then you're already on to step number 2, because step number 1 is just to get the liquid culture. So it's really easy to do, it's great, it's simple. You can purchase these products directly from my authorized retailers nearest you, or you can go to my website and have the products shipped directly to your door. Thank you all so much for your support, and I'll see you in the next video. Much love.